Hey, ladies. Today I'm going to be talking to you about food addiction really quickly and briefly, but I just want to share a few things with you that I feel like the Lord has just really revealed to me over the last, well, probably for a long time, but really just over the last couple of days, He's been speaking to my heart about it in a different way. So I just wanted to share that with you, ladies, today. And I just want to start by prefacing this, I am not by any means calling anyone an addict when I'm talking about this. So I just want you to understand that I'm not calling you out and saying that, you have a problem. Okay. So, a lot of people get a little, I don't know what's the word, defensive, when the word addiction comes up in their life or conversation. And none of us want to feel as though we're addicted to anything. And we definitely don't want to admit we're addicted to anything. I know I definitely did not want to do that for my own self too, because addiction can bring with it shame, right? And so we can feel very ashamed of ourselves for being controlled by something other than the Holy Spirit and walking in freedom, right? But unfortunately, if we're being very honest with ourselves and we do some really good deep self-evaluation and ask God to search our heart and find if there's any wicked way in us, He'll show us like, hey, there's some things you need to work out in your life. And this has been an ongoing journey for me. The majority of my life, I've just been like, hey, God, what else do I need to deal with right now? Okay, like hit me with the next thing. And I don't know why. It's almost like I just feel like I really do know why, but at the same time, it's very painful where I'm just like, why can't I just be okay with having these addictions and these problems and these strongholds and carrying around my weight and my shame and my baggage. Like, why can't I just be okay with that? I just can't. I just know that it is for freedom that Christ set us. And I also know that there's one way to that freedom, and it's through truth. So if we're doing ourselves, because it also says that, that know the truth and the truth will set you free. And that's how we attain freedom. But if we're living a lie or if we're living deceived and we are just unwilling to look at the truth, even if it's and we don't like it and the truth hurts, right? And it does. I mean, it stings a lot. So we have to be willing, or we're going to be living in bondage and trying to figure out why we keep going around the same mountain, living this cycle on the hamster wheel, so to speak, of life, where we're like, I'm doing stuff sort of, but it's not really working. And I don't know why. And so this kind of trickles over into every area of our lives. It could be relationally, it could be, with your finances and your job, success, things like that. And it also is with our health and our mental health and our physical health. So the way we think and the way we act go hand in hand. So our mental health and our physical health are one, but I always feel like I have to separate the two and talk about both of them together. So I just wanted to jump into this topic for just a few minutes about food addiction with you ladies, because it's very important to understand, what we're faced with right now in the day and age in which we live, where all the foods that we have available to us are so heavy laden with all this junk, right? Riddled with, that's the better word, with all this junk that's in it. And we can't figure out why we just can't stop eating it and why we always want it and why making the better choices are so difficult. And so I was passing, I live in an area where fast food is like everywhere and they don't have a lot of good sit down where you can go get a good steak or anything like that. So every time I'm out and about, I'm driving past all these fast food restaurants. And this is kind of at times, not all the time, triggering for me because I am like a former food addict, right? Like, so I didn't realize this at the time. I just thought, hey, it's really good and I like it. I want it. I'm going to get it. Instant gratification, right? Well, there's so much more going on underneath the surface than that. And I will drive by these restaurants and I'll just think about certain things as I've grown and I've learned and I've been transformed by the renewing of my mind in this concept of health from the inside out, and losing weight physically coming after you actually lose weight mentally and you change your mind. We won't get into that today really, but that's my main core message of everything, right? So if you've been hanging around with me for a while, you've heard that before. But as I drove past some restaurants this week, I heard the Lord say to me, let me just start at the beginning really about all this. There's a new fast food restaurant that opened up in our little area, and the line for opening day, I passed by it and I looked over and I was like, what in the world? Why are there so many cars? There were so many cars lined up. It was atrocious to see the amount of people who were just clamoring to get in line to this new fast food restaurant that's available 20 minutes down the road, right? Like, so it's not, I don't even understand, but I know that they could win like free ice cream for a year or something like that. And I thought that is a dangerous thing to want to win. I would not want to win that. But anyway, the line was so crazy. And I was like, God, why are all these people, I was literally talking to God, not using his name in vain, but I was like, why are all these people in line like that? That's nuts. And he just said to me, because they can't help it. And I was like, oh, okay. And I just kind of went with that. And I started thinking about it. And I realized they can't help it. They can't help it. And neither could I at one point, and maybe neither can you. So if you find yourself like struggling, thinking about food all the time and wanting to go through the fast food lines, or wanting to eat the chips, or wanting to have the sweets all the time, whatever it is that you know is tripping up your success at being healthy, losing weight, and keeping it off, you'll know right away, right now as I'm talking, you're going to be able to picture those foods that you're like, yeah, I love those foods. They're so the bomb, right? Like I love them. They're delicious and non-nutritious, but I eat them anyway, right? Like we do that, right? That you'll know what the food is. Okay. So whatever that food is, it's addicting, and it's a habit that we formed, but it's an addiction. It controls our life if it's something we think about regularly. So I just want to jump in and literally define the word addiction first for you, because I want you to get free from this. That's the point in this really short little session together. I really want you to get free from anything that controls you, because Paul says in Corinthians, he says, I can do anything I want. Like I'm paraphrasing. He says, I can do anything I want. Like everything's permissible for me, right? Like he's challenging the Corinthian church. And he says, but not everything is beneficial. Okay, sure. You're telling me right now, Corinthian church, from Paul saying this to them, yes, you can do anything. And hey, yeah, okay, sure, you can. So can I. But I will not be dominated by anything. And that really, if you dig down deep, means I won't be controlled by anything. So if somebody's dominating you, right, they're controlling you. Or if something is dominating your life, it's controlling your life. And we know that social media dominates a lot of people's lives, and it controls their lives. And especially little kids. My husband and I were just having this conversation. It's very scary to see what's happening to our littles today with the addiction and the domination of social media. And not just social media. I shouldn't just say that. I mean, like tablets and games and all that kind of stuff, where they're just fighting, and you can see them in their sleep. Like they'll close their eyes, but they're like mindlessly scrolling, or they're mindlessly tapping buttons in their sleep because their muscle memory, they're so used to it. It's crazy weird. But I hadn't seen a video. My husband was talking about it yesterday, and I was like, I'm not surprised. I have a 4-year-old, and I very much limit what he does with anything that's a screen for this very purpose, because I don't want him to be dominated by anything, and I don't want to live dominated by anything. So when he's talking about that, he's talking about addiction. So let's look at the word addiction. Addiction is defined according to the Webster's dictionary as a compulsive or chronic psychological or physiological need for a habit-forming substance, behavior, or activity that has a harmful physical, physiological, or social effect, and typically causes a well-defined symptom such as anxiety, irritability, tremors, and nausea upon withdrawal or abstinence. And that is the actual definition that I want to talk about. But there's a second one that says it's a strong inclination to do, use, or indulge in something repeatedly. Okay, wow. What the world? Okay, so food addiction is real. And a lot of people would say, I'm not addicted to food, but let's talk about that for a minute. Are you thinking about food constantly? Are you thinking about foods that are actually harmful for your body? Or are you daydreaming about eating salad? I mean, like, just be honest. Who's daydreaming about eating kale and bell peppers and spinach and broccoli and apples and oranges? I've never met anybody. Okay. But I definitely have met people that are like, I cannot wait to eat that cheesecake. Right. Like, we know. So also, let's look at that definition a little bit more. It's a compulsive, chronic, psychological, or physiological need for that habit forming substance. So let's just stop there for a second. And I found this on healthline.com. Okay. So healthline.com goes into food addiction as a substance addiction. Okay. And it is actually, this is what it says in this article on Healthline about food addiction. It says, let's see, where's it at? It says, even though, okay, people tend to get cravings when the brain starts calling for certain types of foods that are often processed foods that aren't considered healthy or nutritious. Even though the conscious mind knows that they're unhealthy, some other parts of your brainstem disagrees. And they're like, yeah, your brain's like, I don't really care. I want this anyway. Like, we know it's unhealthy for us to be addicted to things, right? Certain substances. So it says that this isn't due to a lack of willpower. And so if you're like, why is my diet working? Why can't I stop eating all this stuff? It's not due to a lack of willpower. It's because of your brain, right? Okay, so this is Healthline here. The fact is that junk food stimulates the reward system in your brain in the same way as addictive drugs such as cocaine. What? The world. Okay. So for susceptible people, eating junk food can lead to a full-blown food addiction, which shares the same biological basis as a drug addiction. And here's how it works. The brain knows when you're eating something, okay, it feels like you're doing something right, and it releases good chemicals in your reward system in your brain. Anytime you eat, your brain releases dopamine, okay? And that's the chemical in the neurotransmitter that it releases, okay? So then Healthline says that the brain interprets this as pleasure, and your brain is hardwired to seek out behaviors, which was in that addiction definition, right, that release dopamine in the reward system. Okay, so the problem with modern junk food is that it can cause a reward that is way more powerful than any reward the brain can get from whole foods, whole healthy vegetables and fruits, right? Whereas eating an apple or a piece of steak might cause a little bit of this release of dopamine, eating Ben & Jerry's ice cream is so rewarding that it releases a larger amount. So I could go on and read more and more of that, but I think you get the point, that this is a problem we have in our day and age in which we live because of the foods that are, readily available to us. This includes fast food. If you think about a fast food restaurant and then you think about a bar, and again, I'm not calling you an alcoholic. Again, I'm not calling you a drug addict. I'm not saying, if this offends you, then I would ask you to just go to the Lord and ask him, why does this offend me? Like, why is this bothering me? But if you pass by a fast food restaurant and you feel every time the urge to pull in there, or you're just like, that's kind of where I eat dinner 4 or 5 times a night. It's just where I hang, right? Consider the relation between that and a bar, and that people who have broken free from the chains of alcoholism in their life, they cannot go into a bar. It's just not good for them. They know it. It's going to hurt them. Okay. So it's the same thing with fast food or junk food. If you're breaking free from the addiction and the hold and the control that has on your life, you cannot keep pulling into the bar. Okay. So i.e. the fast food restaurant or wherever. You are going to have to give yourself some time to heal you're in your mindset about things, and eventually you won't even really want that anymore. You'll think that's not good for me, and I know it, so I'm not going there. So here's what I want to give you. I just want to impose this. I want to not impose. That's a terrible word. I meant to say I don't know what the word is, but I want to suggest that's the word. Oh, my brain and words today. I want to suggest a solution in your prayer time with the Lord over this addiction thing. There's lots of things we could get into more about this. I'm going to be sharing more about this on my YouTube channel here coming up too. So make sure that you have checked that video out when it comes out a little bit more. But here's the solution. When you pray about breaking free from this, instead of praying that, God, make me healthy. Okay. Instead of saying, God, give me health. Okay. Like we say, God, give me health all the time. But instead of saying, God, give me health, what if you were to ask him to make you healthy instead of giving something to you? So like the prodigal son, when he left home, he said, give me my inheritance. But when he came home, he said, make me as one of your servants. So instead of asking God to give you health and give you weight loss, start asking him to make you somebody who is a healthy person who does healthy things. It's going to require giving up something to gain something. So there's always like a handoff, a trade-off, right? So I just encourage you with that in your prayer time. And I really want to also invite you to the online live Bible study that I'm doing on my YouTube channel. So if you haven't already signed up for that, just type Bible study down below and I'll send you the link so you can get all the information. We're going to be going through a Bible study by Barb Raveling. I don't have it up here with me to show it to you, but it's called Freedom from Emotional Eating. And it's just a Bible study we're going to go through together. I went through it already about a year ago. It was really good. So we're just basically going to meet for an hour live on YouTube. It's open to anyone, so it's public, so anyone can come. But if you sign up, if you need the link to register, you're going to get some resources sent to your email as well. So you'll want to definitely do that. So just type Bible study below. I'll give you the link. Okay. But make sure that you know also you don't have to come live. You can catch the replays also, but you'll want to sign up so you can get those replays sent to your email address. Okay. But we're going to go through that Bible study. It's a 40-day Bible study. We're going to do it on Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. Lord willing, my little guy sleeps until I'm done. But I may have to end the lives early if he wakes up and comes in here and says he needs me to change his pull-up or something. I'm a mom, y'all. Okay, I'm a mom. So just sign up for that. I really want to invite you to that because a lot of times the addiction too is the root of anything that controls us has to do with our thoughts, obviously first, and our emotions when we have put our emotions in the driver's seat of our life and we're trying to deal with things the wrong way. So we're going to break free from that together. And that's my mission in life, is to help you to walk in freedom in every area of your life in the name of Jesus. So yeah. All right, ladies, I'm going to go ahead and end this because I actually have a coaching call coming in a second. So I'm going to jump on that. And hey, if you're interested in working together, like, hey, just type call below and I'll send you the link where we can get together. And I will, look forward to chatting with you and seeing how maybe we can work together. All right, ladies, I hope you have a fabulous day.